You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Prasky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Vamos.
I want everyone to know we actually met 10 minutes before the show. Very impressive.
I finally wore a watch.
I'd
like to thank my sponsor, Casio, for helping me out.
Hey, great brand.
Casio's a great brand. I don't
know anything. Watch at affordable price.
Wow, a good price. I don't wear a watch.
Do they? I'm asking a sincere question. Do they make Casio?
See, they're like a great watch brand.
Oh, they okay. I don't even pay attention anymore. I just, obviously.
You're in, Andy. Nick knows his little watches.
When we were in high school, Chris, they had the coolest Casio watch that had the calculator on it where you could literally hit all the little buttons.
I remember it. Yeah.
You'd buy them at like Walgreens or something.
Couldn't wear that during tests though. Math tests.
No, that was like the version of a smart device on your wrist.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what are we doing? It looks like
a radio show.
One of us looks like he's swinging from the trees and eating bananas.
I'm in the jungle, baby, with the monkeys and the acai, everything. Yep. It's actually my local cafe that I go to every day. It's a good little vibe, Wi-Fi solid, and it's artistic.
We were there quite a few times when we were in Brazil, and this is where I would go, and I get there and I'm like looking at the menu, and of course I had to put my little phone on it and translate it and everything. And then all of a sudden the waiter or waitress would come, and all of a sudden Nick would go, "We'll take one of those, one of these, one of these, one of those, and one of those." And I'm like, okay, I guess I don't order.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's fun. Did you enjoy? Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Did you do the typical pick around?
Yeah. No, I was. You find your. I did an egg sandwich all the time. That was one thing.
That's easy.
The bread and the butter was like amazing, and the eggs were really good. So
nice.
Do you know that eggs? This is very interesting. That like in America, they're mainly cleaned off, and that's why they put them in the fridge. But if you don't clean them off and you have that little coating on them, they can last a long time, like outside.
Leave that bacteria on them.
Yeah, because it has this protective coating. But if you wash them, then they don't have that, and then that's why you got to refrigerate them. Just saying.
I'm okay with refrigerating them because I've seen those eggs when they're not washed and they're kind of gross.
Yeah, you kind of crack them. It's a little harder to crack, but
a little more
good.
flavor.
They were good.
It's in the pan.
Do you think this has anything to do with real estate?
I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear where you're pulling this back in.
Chickens are a big thing. I get asked that quite a bit if they're allowed in developments, and a lot of people want them, and they don't necessarily want acreage, but they want chickens at their place. So,
I've probably told this story before, but I had a client a couple years ago that she was a $1.5 million budget. Okay. And she had mini goats and she had pet geese. I'm not joking with you. The chickens, it's easy to find a place to live. Geese, even on some of these acreage areas, you had to have special licensing for them. You had to have, and she says, if I just show up with them, they'll make me take them away. And she goes, I don't want to own a house where I can't have my pet geese. And this was no joke. And we got to the point of where, my gosh, we exhausted everything. She had to move so far north to get out of the areas with rules against it or for it. Yeah. And anyway.
Yeah, that's I'll tell you, sometimes chickens, I think what's interesting is that some will allow chickens, but they won't allow roosters.
Right.
Those little roosters are nasty little devils, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's our chicken. That's our chicken story. How about the rest of the
that's a
market?
legitimate thing. I mean, for a while there was kind of a fun little trend. A lot of, I call them my hippie folk were looking to have their chickens in the backyard, go crack a couple eggs, have their breakfast, whatever, and have the sustainable, food environment where it just keeps, creating its own
Right.
food. And, there's a lot of cities like Minneapolis that are okay with it now. I mean, you just go down and get your permits and, they have rules. And
I had a client of mine that built the coolest little chicken coop. I mean, it was like high tech. I mean, it was like as nice as a house. These chickens were, and it was in St. Paul.
Oh, sure.
And people just fell in love with it. We used that kind of as the marketing ploy, and it worked. It sold really fast. So
yeah, might be fun to have chickens if it's easy.
Yeah. So rates went down a little. Don't know exactly where because they move every single day. But what did they say? It was the biggest move in the last 4 weeks downward. And so it's hopefully maybe getting a little better. I think it leads into a nice little election year, which rates will probably come down. But we're definitely seeing a lot different market than what we saw even 6 months ago.
Oh,
for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it was, but I'm still starting to see, you're starting to see the side effects. You got to remember, like with, even with new construction, I mean, the last 14 years, these builders have been underproducing, right? And so there's so much demand still in the marketplace, but the new construction cannot scratch the itch of affordability. It's just too different. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many fees and whatever else that it can't do it. But what's interesting is I'm finally, for the first time in many, many years, seeing where people are just not even like looking. They're starting to really slow down on the new construction. Last week, for those of us that are in the Twin Cities here, we had the Parade of Homes open and launch. Big event here, with new construction. You get to see everything from something you can afford to something you want to dream about, right? And that Parade of Homes across the board in general, there's always exceptions, right? But in general, I saw people telling me that they were seeing about half the traffic. Normally, the Fall Parade of Homes is normally the fall parade is usually pretty slow anyway compared to the spring preview. Everybody's all excited about spring and building and new projects and remodeling, and they want to, whatever. And so now you're starting to see where at least the first weekend, hopefully the second weekend, third and fourth are not the same, but it was slower. And when we talk to people, most people are like, well, I just can't afford anything. We're just out having fun looking. And I had 3 model homes kind of in the north and the northeast, and 10 total across the Twin Cities. But the 3 that I was working on this weekend, I was seeing a lot of people talk about interest rates. So that being said, now we're seeing these builders rolling out these crazy interest rates. I know the guy that I'm working with has some crazy interest rates that they're offering where they're taking they're buying down the rate for the buyers. So this is what's going to happen, Chris. I think you're seeing people that are starting to go away from the existing market, because the existing market's like, hey, if you don't give us what we want, we're just not going to sell. And, because there's a lack of supply there. On the other hand, new construction right now is outfoxing the existing market by offering more attractive rates. They're using, the higher price points. They're giving away their profit to just liquidate properties to move to the next one. And so you're seeing these, sometimes it's a $30,000, $40,000 concession by some of these builders to get that rate down to make that affordable payment for you. So I tell you, you've got an existing house and the new construction's here. But when that new construction has a payment of a house that's down here, it's hard for people to say no, because most people live in the payment, not the price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think, Andy, answer this right now. Would you say, is it better for someone to get a better deal when it comes to a new construction inventory home, or are they really trying to push building more?
I'm saying both, because I think what a lot of these builders were fearful of, when they ordered that lumber, depending on how old that model is, if that model is over a year old, they paid a lot more for that lumber than they did for the replacement cost today. So what I'm saying is it's almost lower. Well, I'm not saying it is. It's lower cost today than it was a year and a half ago to build a house. Now, that might be temporary. That might go away. There's only so long where people sit there and they're the only game in town hanging drywall. Well, guess what? They're not going to sit there at that price forever. They want raises too to keep up with inflation. Inflation keeps chugging along, so will prices. So, and that's because 40% of the average house is labor. right? So it's like, you think about that for a second. And so if 40% of your labor force wants a 10% raise every year, that's about a 4.5% raise just on the cost of the house every year, just on labor. So, when you look at that, I think that there's, I think that the new houses being ordered, they want to keep their crews busy, of course. What the new order buyers are scared of is that rates go through the roof. Now they're at 9% and they can't afford to buy the house that they ordered. So what builders are doing all over the Twin Cities, and this is what I highly recommend you do before you decide not to build a new house. We have most of our lenders right now at no cost are locking loans out 300 plus days. Most builders can get a house built in less than that. So right now things are a little bit slower than they were. And so the labor is readily available and you can get stuff built brand new, exactly the way you want it with all the coolest amenities. New construction always has the best energy efficiencies. Everything's under warranty. And a lot of people really want that. They just didn't think they could afford it. So now with lower rates and with locks on those interest rates, and here's the best part, most of those lenders will allow you to unlock. So let's say during the election year next year, we're right, and they go back down to 5% or something crazy, right? They'll let you unlock on the one and relock on the new numbers. So it's a win-win. So what I'm seeing is the out of all the different economies that are out there, I'm seeing housing adjust first because housing was whacked last year, starting in about April. And they've already had over a year of this. Oh my God, what are we doing with these higher rates? Other businesses like car manufacturers and auto dealerships and dock manufacturers, we've talked about this before. They haven't gotten hit yet. It's coming. So they're the next wave. We're the first front wave. And so we've already made adjustments to keep people buying and building new houses, which when you build a new house, it employs like 75 people locally. So that's a big deal for all of us for sure. So
we had another big change though, with interest rates skyrocketed and prices still continuing to climb or at least stay even. That we've outshined the rental market, and it's better for someone right now, cost wise, payment wise. We talk about this a lot. People buy based on a payment is to rent. They can rent right now. I mean, the people that have the rental properties have them probably at really good interest rates. And they haven't shot up as quick as what the interest rates have shot up for new people purchasing. So what do you say about that one, Andy?
The other thing is too, the average rent might hit the all-time highest right now. So it's kind of a weird situation.
I was going to say, show me where you can rent a apartment that's the same size as a house for $1,800 a month. So that chart is skewed, and it also says 2022. We're in 2023. So facts are a year old are great, but they're more of a history lesson than anything else. So this is a year off.
It's showing 2023. The 2022 is then in the blue, and it goes.
Look at those dates.
Right.
It's hard to see those dates.
4 years.
They're 4 years. So actually, I think it is. This is pretty up to date.
Well, in the Twin Cities, I know the average rental is $2,250.
Yeah,
we're higher than that here.
Right.
But I mean that could be a national average or something, So maybe it's right.
Yeah, but I think you also throw. I mean, there's some some equity being gained there as well. And so when you purchase, even on your loan, your payment might be $2,250, but you're only paying interest on $2,000, let's just say, and the rest is going towards paying off your mortgage. So you're getting that money back, plus you're appreciating. I mean, but it's interesting when you play the numbers, and when people, I mean, this is what they do. They justify it. They say, "Geez, I could rent for cheaper than I can buy it. Let's just wait." And I think that's what a lot of people are doing right now. I think that's
a fantastic idea if you don't want to make $100,000.
What's that?
I said that's a great idea if you don't want to make $100,000 in appreciation. Because I'll tell you what, right now we're in an inflationary market where I don't know how they're going to get off this ride. This roller coaster can't stop right now. It's not like they're, okay, everybody, time out. We're going to stop inflation for 6 months and see how the economy goes. I'm telling you, man, things are going to keep going up. I was just talking to a landscaper that says he's forecasting his cost of goods with trees and all these new the rules and regulations that are coming down on farming with nurseries and everything else. He said our trees are going to go up 30 to 40% next year on cost as a wholesale. And I'm like going, trees now are going to be $5,000 a piece. It's like, so I'm with you, but I'm not 100% subscribing yet because I think what's going to happen is so I still have to landscape houses. If I'm still building houses and now my trees aren't $300, now they're $900. That's fine. Guess who's paying that? The consumer, right? So that house is going to keep going up and up and up. And so what'll happen is you're going to find that you'll fare much better harboring your money into assets that appreciate during inflationary times than to sit on the sidelines and be a renter. Because the other thing is this. Let's say that we have a renter that's in a place, right? And they're renting and renting and renting, and they rent for 10 years. Somebody that buys that house and actually has a payment on it now is refinanced because they realize the economy is horrible. So then they refinance down to 4 or 4.5%. You know, did you know actually, Chris? Not to get you got me all fueled up here. 70% of the people that have mortgages right now have under a 4% mortgage rate. 70%. And so these people aren't moving. This supply problem is not going away overnight. And not everybody wants to live in apartments. And not everybody wants to live in group housing or whatever. I mean, there are lots of people that do, and God bless them for wanting that. But a lot of people want a yard. A lot of people want whatever. So I think you're going to see hybrids of combinations of the two, where it'll be rent to own, or, you know, because here's what's cool about buying a house. You pay the rent for 30 years or 20 years or whatever you get your mortgage for, and then you own it free and clear. So no matter if it goes up, if it goes down, you own that asset. And you also had to pay someplace to live. So it's almost like a forced savings plan, having a house and forcing you to invest into that, to buy that house. You get the write-offs, you get the appreciation. I mean, I don't have to tell you that the multiple advantages of being an owner over a renter. So I don't know.
I've had a couple buyers that are just worried. They're worried that, hey, if I put all my money into it, and I mean, they do for down payment, they put all their money into it. I mean, what if things just keep going up and they can't afford it? It's almost like they want to save that money to be able to fight this inflationary period.
But let's say you're $100,000 you saved up, and you're in an inflationary market of 18% a year. You're losing 18% of the value of that $100,000. I don't think people realize how scary inflation is. Oh, I'm okay with inflation because I got a raise. Your money's becoming worthless. In an inflationary market, you keep going, it's going to be to the point where $1 million will be worth 50 cents. You're going to get a candy bar for $1 million. And so you've saved your whole life for nothing. And so if you don't start stabilizing economies and stabilizing inflationary markets, you screw yourself over time. So these guys, the only reason why the feds and all those other big government officials say, oh, we're okay with inflationary markets, is because it allows them to print money.
What do you think, Nick? Politician Prasky?
Hey, he's smart, but I got a comment here. So you see the biggest differences, that 1981 and then the 2006 housing bubble, and look at the difference percentages from right now, from the cost to buy, the cost to rent. But the two other biggest ones, 1981 and 2006. What is the difference there? Should you have bought then? Kind of compare those three peaks.
Oh, they're not even comparable. They look like they are on the chart, but I mean, the facts behind these charts, the amount of equity that's in the marketplace right now, Nick, is unbelievable. The average family has $274,000 of equity in their home. The average. Back in 2006, it was probably what, 104,000? So yeah. Equity is not where it was. The other thing is this: the amount of people that are getting loans right now that are putting 30 and 40% down is staggering. People are the rules have been so, when rates were that low, the stipulations were so high for people that wanted to get mortgages that it actually created a super, like, ridiculously safe lending environment where the lenders were lending money, but it's to people with putting big deposits down, great credit ratings, low interest rates. Everything was so affordable. That's part of the problem that we're having, Nick, is that those people aren't moving. They're sitting put. They're not upgrading. They're not downgrading. They're not moving to the golf course or whatever. They're sitting because they've got life really good right now. The balance is there, right? So
what about the 1981 peak though? I mean, those interest rates were sky high back then, no?
Yeah, 1981, the same problem. I wasn't really paying attention back in 1981. I was in junior high, but what was happening was there just was a lot of inflation, again, because of printing money. Fuel, they tried to put a bunch of regulations on fuel. Fuel prices shot up. They tried to put a bunch of regulations on farmers. Food prices pop up. So all of a sudden you had just ridiculous, rules being put onto a lot of industries that raised their costs, which of course gets rolled over to you, the consumer. But, going back to 2006, I'm telling you, we used to have people come in the house that would state their income put nothing down, and buy a $750,000 house strictly to take that possession of that house, hoping it would appreciate. And then a year down the road, they can't make the payment, or it was an adjustable rate, or it was a negatively amortizing loan. There were so many toxic loans that were put out there just to keep the economy moving back then. You look back in history and you look at the presidents, you look at what they were doing. That was also when they started lending money. Remember the big AIG bailouts and all that stuff that was going on? That's because nobody would give us money to lend out in the mortgage industry to keep the housing market moving. So they started dipping into the coffers of the insurance agencies, which forever has been taboo. And so that's why they were bailing out all these insurance companies in the early anyway, I could go on forever, but it was a whole different mess. Right now we're in conservative city and everybody's putting a lot of money down and rates are low and costs are low. So it's not even comparable.
So when I see the chart, the overall, it looks like that would be smarter to buy when the cost to buy is cheaper than the cost to rent. Is that not true normally?
Well, I think you currently have a government that wants you to be a renter the rest of your life. Okay. I really do. I think they want you to become dependent on the government. They want you to get bailout checks. They want you to get subsidies. And I'm just being totally honest with you. Argue with me if you want. I don't see them saying, hey, we're proactive, because you look at this huge tsunami debt wave coming from the commercial lending side of things, and it's going to crush the little banks. And that's exactly what they want. And I tell you, the reason why is because it takes away some of the freedoms of being an entrepreneur. And when people are entrepreneurs with big money, it takes the power away from the government. And I don't think they like that. So I'm not trying to be a controversy guy, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of shit here that I'm honestly sick of hearing, because they're skewing the books. They're cooking the books. They got people believing that we need to be renters, and it's complete BS.
Are you trying to say that Nick and his little millennial Gen Zs have an unfair time in their life right now?
No, I think what's happening is that the social media, the way they click with their mouse, starts to cater to their beliefs. And if they believe that they're a victim, they become a victim by clicking the right articles. And all of a sudden they get these feeds coming at them where all of a sudden you're just, man, your generation's screwed. And you're going to look back at time and say, oh my God, that was so wrong. And this was let's say inflation keeps going at 18%. The smartest thing you could do is squeeze into a house right now.
I think the craziest thing is nobody believes anything anymore. You can't even believe anything. And people use that. It's just like, rather than trying to sort it out, it's just like, I don't believe any of that crap. I'm just like, and you kind of give up. And that's the problem. You got to start listening.
Well, Chris, you and I had an interesting conversation last week about that, like that website that we saw. And we determined, between the three of us, that it was probably an AI generated website, right? But like we were talking before the show a little bit about that again. That's kind of where the world, they're looking for so much content just to put crap out there. And then you look at you're showing me the rankings on this. It's like one of the number two highest ranked.
Minnesota real estate. It's number 2 in news.
Yeah.
And that was just posted a day before, and it's already up that high. It's pretty crazy.
And so God bless America. Somebody's doing that then to, get the clicks, to get the views, to sell the advertising. And I get it. But, the thing you got to come down to is where there's going to have to be, just like when you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, you start getting the blue check, and that says that it's accredited or it's an actual authentic. You're going to have to start doing that with websites now too, man. I tell you, because I don't trust anything I read anymore. And if it's not authentic, or they should have to disclose that this article is written by AI right on the top. The author is AI. It's 100%, made up by guessed information that is pulled from 3 other sources and put together into one. And then now that's a source. And now some other AI will use that source. And so all of a sudden it just keeps spewing a bunch of information that may become completely inaccurate. So now you're reading crap.
I've been seeing some AI on some people's listings, and they don't double check it, and it contradicts what their the actual listing is. Like, what? That can't be, and it's total AI. So you gotta watch. I mean, it's nice to have to maybe get you started and help you with some sentences, but completely using it, I just don't think it's a good thing.
Chris, I got a friend of mine that has a robot lawnmower, and I use that as an example of AI. I say the robot's like the AI. It goes out there and does a majority of the work, but it's still his job to go out there and say, hey, I got a weed whacker. I got to hit the spots that they didn't hit, because it's not perfect. Just tune it up a little bit, and all of a sudden saves him a ton of time, runs his weed whacker for 10 minutes instead of having to mow the grass for an hour, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like it's AI is a tool. and it's designed to pull sources together, but it's our job as creators of information to verify authenticity and make sure that it is real and fact check and actually put it in there. Put your sources in there. That's, whenever I put up charts on you guys laugh at my videos, but all my videos have sources. So it's like I put right in the corner who it's from. So.
Yeah. Is your source Mansion Globe?
No.
No.
Hey, let's help some people now. No more rants. Let's do some actionable advice here. I got a very stressed person trying to sell a home as is in a neighborhood full of turnkey homes. So let me pull up their whole question here, and let's fix it for them. Chris,
all right,
you want this?
I got it. Helping my grandma sell her home, and it's stressing me out beyond belief. Selling a home is one of the most stressful things you can do, just so you know. Someone please calm my fears or provide any additional insight. Homes in her subdivision have been selling from $625 to $750. It's an upper middle class midwestern suburb where millennials with money want new, updated, modern everything. That's no different anywhere. Not very old appliances, poor landscaping, floor damage, paint is necessary. I'm sure things will work out fine, but her house sticks out like a sore thumb. It's that house in the neighborhood that's a little unique and great need of some TLC. We're considering a list around $495. If you do that, you're going to be fine at $495. If you try to get $599, you're probably not, but it's always best to try to throw a little 2023, as I would say. I always tell people, throw a little 2023 in there so they can kind of feel that new construction and they can make it their own. And hey, look at this deal that I'm getting.
Fact.
Yeah.
I feel like I talked too much first half of the show, Chris. So I'm going to let you kind of run with it. But I agree. I would agree. I think that, in the old days, in the old world, there was a lot of people that like to do, they call them handyman specials, right? Or the fixer upper special, right? So are you creative? Are you handy? This would be a perfect house for you. Everybody come on in and start with a house with good bones, good windows, good furnace, good roof, whatever, and then just have fun making it your own house. Buy it at a discount, and then put the improvements in there.
I think it's kind of interesting too when people say selling an as-is home. As is can mean a ton of different things, and a lot of some believe that hey, it's as is. This whatever you walk into, that's what you're getting. Sometimes it's hey, go ahead, we'll purchase it. Ask us to fix anything. Do an inspection, make sure it's good, but after that, it's as is. So I think that's a term that just throws out there that's real. It's just not good. And that term would scare a lot of people as well. A lot of people don't have a lot of money after the fact to fix up the house. So that's why we really try to push people to at least get the major things taken care of. I mean, obviously if the appliances are a little old, but they work, I mean, you can probably get away with that. But if you have chipping paint or carpet that's got stains all over it, you want to take care of those things.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I always say, the houses that have home inspections, buyer comes in, writes an offer, home inspection requested, and they come in there and they're talking about, oh, I'm thinking about redesigning this room or adding some more cabinets in the kitchen or whatever, right? Then you get to the as is, and they're like, huh, what's wrong with this? And then they start bringing in, asbestos people, and they bring in the anyway, they get a lot more detailed, and they start acting like there's something wrong with. They put on different goggles because they've been warned. Hey, this is as you see it, is as you're going to get it. But good luck suing somebody anyway. I mean, even if somebody forgot to disclose to you, hey, I forgot that there's this problem. You have to prove that they intentionally didn't do it. And it's a mess. So you're better off just always carrying on the goggles of, I'm buying this house as I see it. I'm not going to be able to go after anybody for repercussions of any, not disclosed information. And just, I don't know.
I'm stunned with the market shifting that people haven't come back from not overpaying, but maybe paying $60,000, $80,000 more. And now coming back and trying to get something out of these people. I'm just surprised by that. But then again, equity hasn't been stripped yet. I mean, but if the market was to go down, and Andy's right. I mean, when 70%, if that's the stat, 70% have interest rates under 4%, and equity is so good in each of these houses, we're not going to get into a foreclosure mess. And that's when a foreclosure mess causes inventory to rise. When inventory rises, prices go down.
It's kind of interesting you say that, Chris, because there was a large conglomerate in Minneapolis that had just been cited as, slumlords, right? And so they were forced, their license got pulled for rentals. And so they're selling a ton of these properties in all over Minneapolis, mostly north. And these properties, Chris, I'm telling you, a couple of my investor guys go, hey, we got to get all over these properties. And I look these properties up and I go, here's the thing, guys. They bought those houses in 2008, 9, and 10 for anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 and nothing more. And now they've got 160 some properties they're liquidating, and they're all going from 160 to 300,000. I go, they're not losing anything. And that bank that, was forcing them to sell or whatever, they say, oh, their notes due. They're not losing a dime. And that's the thing that right now there's no, like I always say that there are very, very, very few opportunities in the market to steal something right now. Like back in 2006, man, these banks were so scared to bring this inventory back because remember, Nick, this is something to think about. The way the government regulated banks back then is completely different than they do now. They allow them to hold toxic waste in their basements of the banks. Back then, they couldn't. They could only have so many toxic assets on their books, and then it would limit their lending capacity, which if they don't lend, they don't make money. So what was happening is nowadays, these guys can hold these turds as long as they pay the taxes and maintain the properties, they can hold them. This goes back to even Obama's day when he was in office. They had to switch it because these banks were dumping properties just to dump them. And it was ruining the housing market is exactly what happened.
I thought Obama put in, after the recession, the Dodd-Frank Act, where they cleaned up some of the banking stuff. But now
That's
you're saying
lending
that
practices on the new lend. But what was happening was that doesn't regulate the banks with the way they do their books. So the FDIC and the way that they were doing their books and holding assets on their books as a bank, not as a consumer.
All right, well, you brought up Minneapolis here, and I want to know if this is a bad sign or not. A famous bar is shutting down. Is this the sign of the commercial real estate having lots of trouble there? I thought Minneapolis was coming back. We were kind of discussing it recently, but is it not?
Which dangerous. What's closing down?
Man Brewing's Tap Room. It was like a famous pioneer in brewing world in Twin Cities. I actually heard of it. I think I was there like a while back.
Yeah, I think
like the COVID and whatnot, they can't keep the doors open.
Still the hangover from COVID.
Yeah.
I think
companies.
I think that whole COVID thing with restaurants. I think what happened was people got too comfortable with what COVID was, and they got away with a lot of stuff. And now people, we want service. If we're going to pay for it, we're paying a lot for it. Yesterday. We ended up going to watch our nephew's football game in Eden Prairie, deciding where we're going to eat. And we ended up going to Buca, just Chris and I did. And I'm like, first of all, you can only buy like in bulk stuff. And it's like, okay, let's just get some chicken parm and a little pasta over here. And she wanted Brussels sprouts. And we had 2 iced teas, $110 later. It's just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's an absolute.
You know how many times I've literally spit out of my mouth when I say, okay, we'll take a number 2 at Arby's and then she'll just have a chicken sandwich and a water. Okay, that's $27. Please pull around. And I'm like, for crap? Good food, crappy prices. It's just insane right now.
I had a salad at Barley's the other day and it was $19. I'm like,
yeah,
what the hell? I didn't put that much stuff on it. It was a normal salad that it seriously was $12 before. It was $19 now.
I'm guessing it was a plate of bacon with dressing on it, but
there's a lot of chicken and bacon on there. There's no question.
Yeah.
So,
hey, what about that Northeast area though? I thought it was becoming pretty gentrified and the hipsters, and it was a good spot for residential housing. Is that not going to spell some ugly signs with this bar closing there or no?
I think one bar is not going to do it if there's multiple, because that's the whole, as you would say, the vibe of that Northeast side.
This was a staple there. They were in before everyone really came. So this is like a pioneer.
Yeah, but a lot of the new ones came in too, Surly's there. It's not like they went under. So
almost.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot
But
of them.
that's why they hire guys like this for security.
Nice. Who did that?
That's you.
That's me.
Don't you remember that? Hey, I got my ear. I'll turn my light off. Hang on. I got this is you, Chris.
Nice. That's I don't have that tripod thing. I'm not a sniper.
You know that you remember that day we had you and I were out at that was the honors folds of honor, and we were out at Hazleton, right? That was right before they had the open out there, and we were out there like the week before. Remember that?
Yeah.
No?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
All right, boys. We'll get into some fun stuff with Social Media Reacts. It'll be brought to you by Andy Prasky, Preferred Home Team. Andy, you want to go on the spot?
Yeah. Hey, this is
Put 'em
Andy
live.
Prasky with the Real Estate Radio Hour. We've been with you for over 12 years now. Thank you for your support over the years. But we don't just do this radio show every week. We actually have the ability to do real estate transactions. We help you buy. We can help you sell. We can help you strategize. We can, put together a plan. I don't care if it's for this week or for next year. Put our knowledge behind you. We'll put it to work. We work hard for you. Andy and myself, Chris, and the guys, we both have big teams. So I have a team. I guess Chris has a few people on the team. And so you need any help, let us know. We'd love to help you with your real estate needs. And thanks for watching the show.
Andy, I just have home experts.
I was, as I was saying, that's the problem with going on the fly. I was like going, yeah, that's right. He doesn't really have, like, I've got 15 agents. I think you've got 4. 1.
Hey, Andy.
And she's awesome.
You forgot to say something, which I know that you do a lot of, and you forgot. At this time of year, you set people up with photos of their home now.
Yes.
So in the spring, if there's too much snow, that you can get their house on the market.
We do the green. Thank you for reminding me, Chris. That was really nice.
Yes.
We do the green photos. So we get the, you got the green trees, you've got the blue water instead of ice and snow, right? And showcasing a house while it's still pretty. If you're thinking about selling in the spring, you should contact us now. We'll set you up with our photography team, and we'll get out there and shoot those houses now for the spring market. And not that we'll deceive anybody, but we will show like the winter photos, but then we also have really nice photos of when things look its best. So if your house is showcased best in summer or fall, this is definitely the time to call us in and get you started.
Look in the camera, say something cool, and we'll put you on a dating website. Okay, cool. Go ahead. I play professional football for the Dallas Cowboys. No, I'm an Army vet from Minnesota. What? I'm Spider-Man. No, don't say play along. Why would I do something? I won Miss America. That didn't happen. I got second place. Say something true. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't really die in the Titanic. He was just acting. No, Derek. He died. Get the fuck out of here.
Whoa.
Oh boy, that's it is good. That I think that realtors do have a problem embellishing a little, or maybe just looking at the real positives. I had a very interesting little market analysis yesterday, Andy. I was just, you couldn't make it up. So there's this guy who, he's got the energy of he's ADDDDDDHHDD, but he's got a lot of energy. He's a good guy. And he has me over. He's got to get moving. So 8 a.m, I'm over there, and I pull up, and all of a sudden I see another car pull up and kind of look at the house, and it's 2 people. And so I get out at like 7:57. I got to be there at 8, and he's blowing off the driveway, and I'm walking out, and those people get out of their car. He's like, "Oh man, I forgot. I have 2 of you at the same time." And he goes, "I know you got to get going pretty quick. Do you have time?" And they said, No, don't worry. We'll go back in our car and just wait. And so anyways, I went through that house in exactly 11 minutes. I went through it 11 minutes. I got a lot of talk in, and I left, and I'm just like, oh my God, this guy was just trying, getting a bunch of people. But I told him, I said, just call me afterwards, and I'll kind of hit on the different things that I want. But what was really interesting about it was this guy did, awesome job of getting his house prepared in which to sell. The only problem is that he overdid it on that particular house. So at some point, there's only so much you're going to get out of a house, even though you put some stuff in it that's like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't find that at 700,000, but there's no way you can get over 500,000. And, in trying to talk to somebody about that and how that works. And my kind of game plan on that is that, hey, this is fantastic and everything, and you can stay here and hang on to it, but you're never going to appreciate with what the talents that you have. What we got to do is we got to get rid of this, take it as, hey, you did a great job, you did the right things, and now let's move it into the next house and get into a property that you can properly, equal out what you paid for it to be able to make a lot more money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that was just kind of interesting. So the other people were there, and I just
the
was
other team, real estate team.
I just told them, I said, hey, let's just go through it together. And they're like, no, we'll go to our car. So
did they? So did you ever hear who got hired?
Oh, I'm going to get hired. We haven't done it yet. But
this guy did.
Not yet. We'll see. Of course, the other people said it was worth, because when I talked to them, they said it was worth what he thought it was worth. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, and I don't know why I did this, but I did. I just looked up and I pulled it up and like how many houses I've sold in Prior Lake? 347 in Prior Lake that I've sold. And so I did that. Wow. And these other people were from another agency, not around Prior Lake. And I'm like, he had to have gone and looked that up and tried to see what they've sold in there. But yeah, it was kind of like, wow, that's a lot of houses in one town. So anyways,
say your household name.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've just been doing it for too long. So
not too long.
This house is listed for sale for $1. We're in Pontiac, Michigan. $1, 2-bed, 1-bath, and it's 700 square feet. Let's read the little description here. First of all, some keywords: overgrown shrubbery, exotic weeds. This is the world's cheapest home, priced at a mind-boggling $1. Yes, you read that right. This home is not just a house, it's a ticket to the real estate adventure of a lifetime. The roof might have seen better days, but hey, it's not leaking yet. It's just keeping you on your toes, providing an unexpected shower of excitement when you least expect it. Let's talk about the unique features that make this place stand out, like the avant-garde floor hole art installation conveniently located next to the furnace. We got real creative with that one. Let's look at the house. Here's the outside. She's quite schmo. Jumping right in. Here's the little entry living room area. Here's the little lovely avant-garde floor hole art installation thing they were talking about. Lovely. Here's the kitchen. Listen, I know it's a little rough. We've seen much worse here. And for $1? No, she's missing a wall or two. Who isn't? Bathroom. Again, we've seen worse. Another missing wall situation. You're fine. And then there's a couple more bedrooms. Honestly, this house is not that bad. And for only $1? I mean, come on, people. That's a deal. Love you, bye.
All right. I think first of all, I mean, how they did the marketing with exotic weeds and, overgrown shrubbery and kind of playing off of that. It's almost like you can kind of have some fun with this one, and kind of throw anything out there because, I mean, it's $1. I mean, you're going to get a bunch of people in there. The whole idea is with that $1 is people are going to bid on it. No one's going to get it for $1. It's going to not even be possible. You're going to get tons and tons of people through there. And you're going to end up getting what that house is probably worth, maybe a little less, but they're going to overlook everything. And so it's a really creative and actually a great marketing thing. It really is.
What city was that in again?
Pontiac, Michigan.
Oh,
yeah. But it's like the world's cheapest home. I mean, talk about getting, some airtime over the internet. I mean, that thing's going to fly all over. We've seen that guy before. He kind of annoyed me at the beginning, but I'm really starting to like him.
He's funny. He's like funny. That buddy that just makes you giggle.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you So that does happen in Minneapolis and St. Paul here too. We do have where some of these city properties, people come in and they say, "Hey, preserve the property. You can sell for $1." What was that young lady that has a TV show's name?
I knew you were going to say that. And I was sitting here trying to think of it.
Rehab something, right?
Cute little blonde. What was her name? She was on our show. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it's Rehab Addicts.
Yeah, Rehab Addict. It's we know.
She was so funny. She wanted to murder me. when we got there, and of course, you know me, I'm Mr. Smooth, and we were down. That was when we were doing the Minneapolis, the Home and Garden Show.
Home show. Yeah.
Nicole Curtis, Lisa just piped
Here
in.
it is. Yes, that's it. Nicole Curtis.
You want to talk about somebody that would slug me? She would. And we were sitting there with Denny, and we had the whole radio show live, and we were going to interview her. And she shows up, and she was like, "Where's my lazy boy? Where's my latte? Where's my?" And I'm like, "I don't think you get it, lady. We are two real estate agents that come down here voluntarily, do this radio show." And so we're plugging here.
That was just the start. Afterwards, she was great. We got to.
Oh yeah, no. I still follow her. I like her stuff. I think she's great. I love her spirit. I think she does a great job with some of these houses. And
she's gone through a lot. She's gone through a lot, but she is the one that would get houses for $1. And she just had to promise that she was going to rehab them.
Yep.
Through the city. So. And she's done quite a few, and actually
she made a whole TV series about it. I mean, a lot of her houses that she was on TV were regarding local, and then she also did Detroit as well, because that's where there's a lot of those houses for $1.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's awesome.
Hey, just so you know, that guy's business thing. There's a lot of funny real estate pages online, and basically they get a ton of leads, buy and sell, and they just send them all out to people, and some of these people are making lots of money doing that stuff.
You mean they're just sending them to other agents? He doesn't even do it.
No, I know actually agents guy is a realtor. And so he actually gets the nice commission, referral commission. But I think this person is not a realtor, and they have some sort of scheme where they give out leads like crazy, like that Mansion Globe website.
I was just going to say that house would probably be on Mansion Global as a mansion, just like that one townhouse in Moorhead that was so nice.
And pick up on all those key words and say this has to be a good house.
Totally.
Hey, I have a interesting social media post about a home in Greece, $8 million. But check this thing out; it's wicked.
Greece, I like Greece.
I do too.
I think I do. Oh, it's built in. It's a bunker. And
yeah, look at this.
There we go. Jeez.
Can't wait to see inside. I wonder how much it goes.
Does the back cave go down to the ocean?
Dude,
sound like a rock. Look at this pool.
That's the pool?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have any inside photos. So it's built on the little cliff.
So do they have a hidden garage somewhere, or where do they have that?
There's only 4 photos on here. I bet I could find the listing somewhere, but I think it's a luxury.
Everything looks at the ocean.
Oh, there's the garage.
That's a garage. That looks like a retaining wall with a driveway.
Like the driveway that goes underneath. You see right here?
Yeah, just tucked under or whatever. Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, off to that side. Okay, yep.
You got to wonder, to me, this comes across as, hey, I'm the biggest drug lord in Greece, and people try to kill me all the time, so I'm going to hide in the hill.
Hey, that's kind of interesting stuff, though.
I got the Euro market, the gyro market cornered.
Yeah, I wonder if that's one of those that they're going to intrigue you with it, but they're not going to give you the photos of it. Like inside, it's almost like, hey, you've got to show us that you've got the money, and they don't want everyone to know about it and like what's under there. Because if it is somewhat of a privacy thing, you don't want pictures of it all over the internet.
I think it'd be cool to be like James Bond-esque and have the elevator that goes down and goes straight out to the ocean, like through a cliff.
They might buy that for a movie, Andy. You should go try to sell that to Hollywood. That house in Greece.
James Bond, here we come.
There you go.
Or Batman, or somebody that likes in-ground stuff.
I like it. All
right, speaking about the luxury property, we're going to do our Minnesota luxury spotlight. It's in Egan. It's kind of a little compound. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results. I found
Jeez.
I have to be really nice about this one, Andy, because by popular demand, there's some people bringing us back to the radio show where we started this whole thing. And this guy, one of the guys that's on that radio show, has this one listed. So I've got to be, I got to be really, really nice. So first of all, in Egan, sitting on 10 acres is a very unusual thing. It obviously is. Nick, I think that you had a great word there called a compound. And I think that's the feeling of it. It was built in 2002, but and you'll probably see some, I'm guessing we'll see some dated feel to it, but this is definitely a very custom home. And when you do those custom homes, I mean, there's no way that price tag of 2.15 could ever touch what that would cost to build right now. So let's go inside and we'll kind of play it. It's sprawling, but it's not huge. I mean, it's under 6,000 square feet. What does it say? 5749, 4 bedrooms, 5 baths. So again, sitting on 10 acres in Egan is kind of a big thing. That's stucco and stone. Yeah. So see, here's what you'll get. I mean, things are dated. So I think it is, and when I say dated, I'm saying it's probably in good condition, but it's just not 2023. And people that you got to remember, people that are going to pay over $2 million have the ability to be able to build their own house, and probably bigger than this, but the style and the different architecture and that location are what's going to drive this price to get it. So I think I don't even know if this is quite on yet. I think it's coming soon, but what do you think of that fireplace in the middle, Andy?
I'm a fan. If from a sheer, it's there, it works. I think it's a cool way to, warm up the whole room, divide it a little bit, but keep it together.
We just had a client do the same thing, and I've knocked out fireplaces to get them out of the way. But I mean, it's a cool application, and I think this one fits the house as well.
One of my home builders that I work with has a plan where they have the fireplace in between they call it the hearth room and the like family room or whatever, main floor great room. Yep. And I'm talking like 9.5 times out of 10 people take it out.
Yeah,
it's. And I think it looks cool, and they're like they don't want they want it wide open.
Yeah. This is kind of a mid-century modern type.
Cool looking house. Look at that curved arch. Somebody spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah. Now, there's a few bucks on this place.
Yeah, look at that.
I think this is an interesting year built too. I mean, when you're 2002, that's 21 years old now. I mean, you're going to start looking at some of the things. So you're kind of watching out for mechanicals and appliances and so that's not typically the kitchen that you'd want in a big house. A lot of people want bigger, but it's unique and it's different and it's more I mean, this could easily be like a second home type place as well.
You remember our friend Deb Newell that had that big Northwest Airlines executive? She bought his house. It was on 9 acres in Egan, and didn't they try to sell for like $9 million or something crazy?
Yeah, I think she paid she didn't even pay $3 million.
She paid like $900,000.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Oh, really? But the reason being is because I had one like that in Minnetonka where we had 11 furnaces. I mean, there's 11, and people worry about that kind of stuff.
For sure,
you got to replace 11 furnaces. That's not a good thing. So
I wouldn't want to pay the bill to feed those beasts.
Yeah, I'm curious if this has a lower level, Nick, or if it's all on one level. So just kind of shoot through some of these photos because that's a big thing. I mean, if you got 6,000 square feet, look at that pantry. That's a beautiful pantry. Back area. This is all on the main floor as well. Master, looks like the master suite, another bedroom. Looks like they all have their own bathrooms. All walk out. See, I have a feeling this is on one level. I mean, doing that kind of stuff, it's a certain person's going to absolutely fall in love with it. Other people are going to say, tear it out. Is that a lantern in the... Oh, look at that stainless steel tub. Oh, no, that's our glass shelves. Andy, have you seen that? Have you seen that?
66.
I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really different.
It looks like those new ice baths the Vikings all jump into.
Yes, exactly. You got to have an ice bath. So
Apparently that's the only way to wake up, according to them.
it's very, very good for recovery. Ask Nick. He did one every day in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is all on one level. And if that's the case, I think that's a big plus. I really do. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just a lot of people are getting into that whole main level thing now, Andy. Even having zero basement. You know, some people want a basement, and all those tornadoes that hit Minnesota, at least that's what they think. Bathroom. Oh, basement. There's a basement.
With a kitchen, with a
That's
fireplace.
a lower level. So there's a little bar back. Yeah, bar kitchen back there.
Yeah.
So I was wrong. But that main floor looked pretty big. Maybe this basement isn't as large, but there's a walkout. Yep, there's a little extra kitchen.
Jeez.
What's hiding behind there? Theater room.
Oh, the cowboy room. Look at that.
That's kind of fun.
That's
Look
cool.
at the gun. Look at the guns over there, Andy.
I see them. I love it.
Yeah, you're that little thing. All the things that are on the wall, as you can see, that sometimes can offend people.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
No,
one of those things
somebody likes.
I'm fine with it. But I mean,
Well,
when you have
that, and then they've got the on the floor they had the cowhide, and I've sold houses where we've had to take all of the deer heads down, the moose heads down, the zebra skin carpet off the floor. I mean, people get, you want them to visualize the house as theirs. If they're super anti-gun, regardless if you're reminiscing about the old cowboy days, and those are all old collector guns from the Wild West, it doesn't matter. Somebody else might take that as an offensive, violent room. And, so it's like, I always try to make everything vanilla ice cream when I sell it within reason. And then some of my sellers say, I don't care. I only want somebody to buy my house that likes this room. And then you proceed with
I
marketing.
appreciate it when they do stick to that. But I think the other thing is the second reason that you probably want to remove that stuff is because some people really like it. And they'll spend more time looking at that than they'll be looking at your house. And so sometimes it works the opposite way. Like, oh my God, these guns are cool. And then what do they want typically? They want to include those. And if you don't want them included, then that becomes a problem. So I think that theater room had a lot of coolness to it in the first place. But
Yep.
a lot of wallpaper, Andy. It's coming back. There's that garage. Look at that thing. Little golf area, workshop. Cool. Yeah. Boy, I do like the privacy of this. But it's probably a lot to take care of. I do think there's some. I don't think that basement's under the whole thing, but that's pretty cool. That whole covered area under there.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's really cool.
Why do you think it's on 10 acres? Most people wouldn't need quite 10 acres to give them the privacy. Is it up on a hill or what's the?
Yeah, I think that's what those aerials were showing.
Oh,
Look at that.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I don't even know how you. God, I'm trying to
see now a guy like me would have a driveway going up with a cul-de-sac up there, and I'd have like 6 houses up there instead of one.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Neat.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a lot of house for the money.
Sure, yeah.
It's one of those I think could go quick or it might sit for a while. Just saying. Oh my gosh, they're
You
going
want to
crazy
see
on my
a new hot
cul-de-sac.
listing I've got here, Chris?
What's that?
You want to see a new hot listing I've got coming?
Yeah.
Okay. This little butte could be yours. 1,000 square foot, built in 1966. Okay, see the floor plan?
And it's only
Wow.
21,000. It
I was just dang it. It was on the back. They had all of these the payments and everything on the back here. The FHA. This is back in 1966. They put $100 down. They had the 6% interest rate, but they had to pay an extra 0.5% for the government insurance for FHA. The investment over here was $21,500. They put $1,500 down, so they mortgaged $20,000. Their payment was $128.20 a month plus tax. It was $171.20 a month for that. And then these were some. I laughed. These were some options that they wanted to take on or off the house. You know, from the 2x8 floor joists, it got $50 more instead of doing 2x6. You know, isn't that crazy?
Oh
and
my
it was built
God.
by Tom back in that was in Woodbury. That this one's going to go.
Where'd you find that?
Huh?
Was that a house you're listing actually?
I'm actually I have the original
awesome.
owner that she's decided to move to a kind of a senior retirement place. She has the original blueprints that were hand drawn. This is the brochure from the model.
Let's see. I'll tell you what, Andy, I think that would be a fantastic brochure to put in there and use that, because I mean there's so much history in that, and I think people think that's so cool. I mean, literally use that and then almost cross out the 21,000 and put whatever it is, 325.
Oh yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right.
Beleza. All right, guys. Hey, click that link. That's where our websites are on. Our YouTube. We're getting views on the shorts, guys. I'm telling you. And send us any questions you have, and we'll see you next week.
Don't people like us on long reels? Just short reels.
Just short.
Just quick. Okay.
And they love Andy's rants.
They love his rants.
He gets mad. He starts going like this.
See you, boys.
Clickbait.
There's no easy button.
Calvin.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.